All right, guys, so this is the official tour of the bus. It's pretty much in the condition it was when I got it this week. This is January 19th, 2026. So here's the bus. I'm going to switch cameras and I will show you the whole bus, but here I am. I'm with the bus. Yeah, unnamed. It will be named soon, but I'm going to switch cameras around and give you a whole tour of the bus so you get an idea of the project and what we're up against here. All right, so obviously back of the bus, if you saw one of my other videos, I just started a little bit of sanding here, get an idea of how much work there is to do. You can see everything's pretty intact. There's no crazy modifications or anything. But obviously needs sanding, but it's actually pretty intact. All right, so we're looking at a 1965 microbus. It is a I'll just open up the doors here. Not a walkthrough, standard bus. So originally it was a 8 or 9 seater from the factory, and just so you get an idea of what the inside looks like. So the floors are actually pretty good, depending on what you consider good on an old bus. Yes, there is rust in a few of the corners here and part of this floor panel. Somebody a long time ago, for some reason, cut that out. I have no idea, and I'm kind of horrified by that, but that will take some work to just weld that back together. You can see the rails are here for the seats on both sides, so the way those are put together. But it would originally had a 3 seats here and 2 or 3 seats here, because there's rails all the way to the end. So it could seat 8 or 9 people. I don't know how you'd move in this bus with 8 or 9 people, but I guess that was possible. So anyway, you get an idea. You know, it's really not too bad along some of these panels. The metal on this bus is actually really good, which is one of the reasons I got it. You know, that's original sort of tar paper, tarred pieces. And this is not rust, this is just the glue from the interior parts that were there. This bus wouldn't have originally had these, but somebody a long time ago put in shoulder belts. And by a long time ago, I mean a very long time ago. So you can tell these, if you know more than I do, let me know, but this may have been an option or something, or some kind of add-on or whatever, I'm not sure. But you can see this bolt goes all the way through to the outside. There's like a carriage bolt, which I don't love, but I actually don't mind it too much. I probably will use shoulder belts when I'm totally done with everything else. So obviously headliner is gone. This again is glue. There's a little bit of insulation in the back of the bus here, so you get an idea of what, like, there's some insulation there. I'm going to figure out what to do with the insulation so that it helps all out with the sound and everything. But this is the original, I don't know what you call that, like fiberboard or whatever. That would have been a sound dampener for the engine area. You can see here a little bit more closely, like where some of the rust is and stuff like that. And again, I can't figure out what they were trying to get to years ago when somebody cut that open. But at some point, I got to remind myself, at some point, this was just an old bus. And, you know, it was like a 20-year-old junker that somebody just thought, well, I'll just cut a hole and get to what I need to, or fashion something or whatever they need to do. And now it's classic. So anyway, that's kind of what I have to tell myself. All right. This is actually where heat would come into the back of the bus, and there's little vents down here in the bottom where heat comes in, if I can get that all sorted out later on. Anyway, we're looking at the inside of the bus. I haven't even touched any of these, and I'm not probably going to just yet, because I'm really afraid I'm gonna pop that open and lose the glass onto the ground, and glass is hard to find. So The spare tire goes here. Let me jump out so you can actually see. You have to access it from the front of the bus. There's of course the handle for the door. This is my first split window bus, and so I love the doors like this. I think they're really cool. The sliding door, you know, is the only one that the bay windows have had, and as you can see, sliding front glass, no rollers or anything. They kept it really simple. This is where the other side of that seatbelt goes through, I believe. Yep. Yeah, that's the same spot there. Yeah. If you're new to buses like this, split window just means there's a little line of metal down the middle, and you got 2 panes of glass there. So anyway, you can see this is original where the water is supposed to drain down, and so the channels are actually really good. I know it looks pretty bad right now, but in terms of overall metal condition, there's a lot of solid metal on this bus. I would open that door, but it's really cold outside right now, so give you an idea of the front of the bus. It does have the original emblem on there as well. We've decided we're going to go to the blue, and this is close to the original blue color. It was a blue and white bus from the factory, so we're gonna keep it to that. Underneath the bus, you can see a lot of buses are very rusted out and the frame is gone. You have to redo parts of the frame, but actually this bus is really not too bad. I mean, yes, the floor needs to be done, parts of the floor, but rocker panels, there's been some surfacey body work done, and obviously it was crunched right there at some point in the past. But that's actually metal behind it. I think it's going to be okay if I can redo some sections of the bus itself. And so, yeah, it's got tires from, I don't know when, a very long time ago. I don't think the final years of buses had a little lock here, but there's kind of like a little square key that fits in. And there's the Volkswagen gas cap. It does shut fine. I just had it open the other day. So, back of the bus, let's have a look. Push the little button and open that up. And yeah, believe it or not, that button still works, and the springs and hinges all still work. This metal is good along the edges of the door and everything. I mean, the rubber's totally toast because it doesn't even appear that it's been done since '65. I mean, I don't think this bus has been partially restored at any point. I know it's been sitting for 30 years in storage. But anyway, I apologize about the sound. It's gonna be a little loud. Hey, what's missing back here? No engine. Not yet. I do have the rear apron, which is this piece that goes here. All right. So if you are familiar with buses at all, you'll know to pull the engine, you do have to pull out this last piece, and it just bolts in. The engine sits here, and transmission, obviously the starter would go there. Those are the original swing axle with reduction boxes here, and gas tank. And then just related, there's some electric, that's where the battery goes. And you can get a little bit of an idea, you know, there's really not a lot of rust back here. I mean, obviously it needs to be sanded and treated, but in terms of the way it could be much worse than that. So, again, there's the heater channels that go up to the front of the bus. There's that hole that we saw from inside, which I still have no idea why it's there. I guess I'll figure that out. And then if you really want to see under the bus, from back here, you get a little view. Right, if you're really geeky about it and you want to see. So, all right, gotta grease that a little bit, I do think. Yeah, so not a lot to see on this side, more bus. And I kind of get an idea if something was painted there or something. over time. I'm gonna sneak up to the front though. It's a little tight in the garage right now. I want you to have an idea of what's going on up here. So the seat is just sitting, all right? It's not on the channels or on the rails. I don't know why, but I'll figure that out. And so you can see the floor needs work up here. This is a classic situation for these buses. I don't know where the water gets in or if it's just the panels that were bad or whatever, but I do have this piece already ready to go and ready to weld and go in there, so I've got to cut that. Dash actually looks pretty good. It's obviously dirty, but everything's intact. Fuel gauge, ignition is there. I mean, yeah, this is chipped. It's not an amazing steering wheel, but like the steering it's there. It's fairly tight. This is the fresh air system on a split window bus. So I can change the direction of the air and let it flow through here. There's a vent on the outside of the bus, and I'm gonna flow through here or flow more towards the back if I want to. And this is the door handle. Open up the door. Obviously shifter needs work, and this is the control for the heat. Ha ha ha, even though I don't think there's ever going to be heat on this bus. This little hole here is where you would check the master cylinder for the brakes, all right? But obviously this needs to be redone. I think there's 3 sections here that can be done. So when I cut and weld, I will figure out where that line is and then cut that out and put this new piece in, make sure I'm doing that right. Emergency brake back there, shifter obviously here, anything with that at all. But I'm just gonna screw up the shaky video there. It does have the original 6-volt Sapphire radio, which just sits right here. I mean, it's gonna go right there, and I will not put a different stereo in it because it's not really designed to be a cruising stereo type of car. If I really wanted sound, I would do it with a Bluetooth speaker or something like that. Anyway, so lots of little things still working, need to be redone, but this obviously will need paint, but it's not just rusted and gone. It's the dash is of course all metal dash, just connected to the rest of the car, so it needs to be sanded and painted, but it's not totally gone. It's in pretty good shape. Anyway, so there's the tour of the bus, guys. I'm going to flip this back around. So I hope you enjoyed that and I hope I gave you a good kind of view of the project and what we're looking at. So it's a 65. First thing I'm going to do is work on the brakes, because I figure you got to start somewhere, and I will be sanding all the time. But in between sanding, I'm going to work on the brakes, because you got to start somewhere, and there's no point in building an engine for it if it doesn't even stop. You know, there's no point. You can't even drive it down the road, so, or even roll it down the road. So I'm going to work on brakes, which means taking off wheels that haven't probably been removed in a decade or 2 decades or maybe 3 decades. So I'm going to work on that, and I'll keep you guys posted. If you got name ideas for the bus, please let me know. We're trying to figure that out. I think that's a really important part of owning any classic Volkswagen. It's got to have a name. That's the way our family works. So anyway, appreciate the views and the thumbs up and the subscribes and stuff. So hopefully you enjoy the journey. Thanks.